What's up, listeners? This is Sophia from Mix 24/7 EDM here with Markus Schulz. How are you here today?
Good.
I'm going to start off my first question.
Okay.
How are you today?
Oh, good. I'm excited. I mean, to be honest, this is the first festival I've ever done here in Montreal. I've always done the club shows, the rabbit hole shows.
Yeah.
Of course, Belle en Blanc, but that doesn't count as a outdoor festival. So I'm really excited to be here.
I'm happy that you're here too.
And I'm surprised how warm it is here, because usually it's button cold here in Montreal. So.
Totally got it. So you are a big inspiration in trance. Me and my friends look up to you. But we want to know what inspired you to start going into trance. Like, why did you decide?
Well, that was what was in my heart. That was what's in my blood. But I've evolved over the years as an artist, and like right now, I'm really inspired by Hans Zimmer and the soundtrack type stuff. And if you listen to a lot of my music, you start to hear a lot of those influences coming in. So as an artist, you just evolve based on who you are, and also the inspiration around you.
Awesome. Who did you look up to when you were just little?
When I was young, I'd say Danny Teneglia was always my hero, because I've always been into melodies, trancey melodies, but I also really love the grooves. And Danny Teneglia was like the one who had the grooves that I just like. I just attracted to the grooves, to his, the way he presented everything, and he even played melodic stuff as well.
Yeah.
So Danny is a big influence on me, still to this day. And I think that when I combine the trance melodies and those kind of grooves, that's when things really just kind of fell into place for me.
Great, that's always awesome to hear. So when you started creating those two things together, and now that you're big, look at you. When was your first big show?
I think one of the big events was in Holland, and I forgot exactly. I think it was Trance Energy back in the day. And that was the first time I looked out into the audience, and I was like, oh my God, And it was funny because back in those days, I didn't feel like I belonged. I always stood out in front of the audience, and I was thinking oh my gosh, why am I here? I mean, but then, you start kind of, the feedback comes back that everybody just really enjoyed your set, and then things just started to evolve, and then you start to get a little confidence. But at the beginning, it's I can tell you, I was the most insecure person up there on stage, and like I said, I didn't feel like I belonged.
Well, now you belong, and I'm really happy to hear your story.
Still, sometimes I don't feel it, but I think that's just part of being an artist, is always having that insecurity.
Always, that's all in our blood. Where would you say your favorite festival, or what's your favorite place to be?
Different places, different reasons, different times. Obviously, I love Montreal, the after hours vibe
Yes.
here. It's legendary. It's one of the few cities left in the world that has such a dynamic after hours scene. Of course, South America, I love Argentina. Buenos Aires has similar kind of a vibe, but they don't go as late as we do here in Montreal.
Oh yeah.
And then of course I love Miami. I live in Miami. Los Angeles is good to me. And then in Europe, obviously Prague, Berlin is really something special for me as well. Now Holland and London as well. So I mean, I'm lucky. I just get to travel around.
Yeah, that's the dream. Whenever you're performing a set, at various festivals or clubs, whatever, what song do you feel connects with the crowd more?
Out of all of my songs?
Yeah.
Well, probably, obviously Destiny is something that's very special to people nowadays. Earlier, I'd say The New World, and even before, at the beginning of my career, I did a remix of Ocean Lab's Satellite for Above and Beyond, and that my remix was was really big at the time, and that was the one I used to end all of my sets with back in the day. So, I think that's the thing about being an artist, is just you're always, adding on to your show or improving your show, and trying to find that next big song that resonates with the audience.
Yeah, I really like that. So I hear you have a new release with Cosmic 8 that just came out.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the readers and listeners
Oh yeah,
about
yeah.
it?
Well, we've been joking together, me and Cosmic Gate, both, Klaus and Bossy, that, hey, we got to get in the studio. And we just never have had the time. And finally, we just decided we were going to do it. No matter what, let's just get it done. And we did. So it was really funny because Klaus had gone back to New York to work in the studio during EDC.
Yeah.
And he was sending me clips of what he was working on in the studio. As I was walking to the stage, I'm like listening to what he was sending me and giving him comments and everything. I mean, it was really crazy how that song kind of came together.
Such a beautiful.
Normally, I like to work in the studio, together with people. That's how Ferry and I always work. But with Cosmic Gate, we were just sending files back and forth, and then it was really cool how it came about.
It's an amazing song. Do you see yourself doing other collaborations with Ferry or Cosmic Gate?
Yeah, Ferry and I, of course, we're always working on stuff together and apart. And this year, Ferry did his Blueprint album, or for the last year he's been working on that. It was just released, and so we kind of took a break so Ferry could concentrate on the Blueprint album, and I just did a new Dakota project. So we took some time, but maybe next year we'll start trying to do some more, revive the New World Punks.
Awesome. Well, I'm very looking forward to hearing your upcoming projects.
Thank you.
For our last question, I want to ask you, since you're such an inspiration to everyone, especially for trance, if you were to give an aspiring musician, producer, anyone a piece of advice going in the music world, what would you say to them?
I've always said this, but be true to your heart. And I've told other young guys this as well. I said, if you make a song and you become popular because of this song, and it's not something that comes from your heart, you'll get burnt out. 3-4 years maximum, and then you won't be interested anymore, right? So the idea is make music that's on your frequency, attract people that's on your frequency, and it's a synergy that happens. When people love you and your music, and you love the music as well, then it's just a great relationship.
Great. I'd love to hear that. Well, thank you so much for agreeing